Next up, we are moving on to our third segment pretty quickly. We have our third speaker, Miss Angie To, who will be sharing with us on effective tips to overcoming stress and anxiety at work. So Miss Angie is a peak performance coach with over 20 years of experience, and her passion lies in supporting professionals to succeed at their own terms and to achieve breakthrough in their personal and professional life. She's known for sharing enlightening stories and case studies that demonstrate how one can conquer negativity and inspire others to adopt a positive attitude through training and private coaching. So without further ado, let's welcome Miss Angie to share with us the proven tips on how we may overcome stress and anxiety faced at work. Miss Angie, please.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you very much. And a very good afternoon to everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here today to be able to share a couple of tips about effective tips to overcome stress and anxiety at work. I also had a good time listening to my other colleagues, Anil and Erin, they're sharing about mindfulness and also about the PFA. So just a very quick introduction of myself in addition to okay. In addition, sorry, just some issue. Okay, just a very quick introduction of myself. Sorry, I'm just having some issue with the slide. It's not moving. Okay. I've been doing coaching and training, yeah, I think more than 10 years full time. And if you could see the picture here with long hair, it was an interview on Channel News Asia. And they have there, Angie To, Singapore breath worker. So maybe some of you might be wondering, what is a breath worker? Okay, so breath work is any form of breathing technique. Like just now when Erin was sharing about the 1 minute breathing, not just 1 minute of stillness, we're using our breath. That in itself, it could be a form of breath work. However, I'm also trained in a special form of breathing technique. It's called a conscious connected breathing technique that helps one to release trauma, emotional issues, stress, and it's about using the breath to let the body release whatever emotion that is stored in the body. And that is pretty much what I do with my private clients. So I work a lot with clients with mental wellness issue. It could be depression. It could just simply be feeling stuck in their own life. Okay. And now today we're just going to explore a little bit about what is stress first. And then what are I'm going to share with you 3 very simple tips that you could use in the day-to-day life to help you to overcome any form of anxiety or stress. Okay. So first thing first, what is stress? Okay. And how I define stress would be, stress to me is when our perceived external demand out there is more than our perceived internal resources. So maybe, the workload is a lot and you feel that, there's a lot of external demand and you feel that I do not have the internal resource to cope with it. So you start to experience this thing called stress. Okay. And the word here, what is interesting here is that there's this word called perceive. So every one of us, we're going to be perceiving things differently. My perception of the external demand, maybe my boss just give me a little bit more, just slightly 1 or 2 tasks more than the usual. I might really feel that, I'm starting to feel that there's a lot of perceived external demand out there. And every one of us, we also have this perceived internal resource, how much I'm capable of coping. So, whenever the demand out there is more than what we can cope, that is when most of us will start to experience stress. And you can see that some people, they are very good at handling stress. No matter how chaotic is life out there, no matter how much demand is placed on them, they are still able to go, no, I'm not stressed, because they probably have a very high, perceived internal resource to cope with it. But you also meet with people who are not just a little bit, they will feel like, I'm very stressed, because maybe their perceived internal resource is not as high as some other people out there. So again, there's no right, no wrong. It's not like, this level is good, because stress is not always bad. A good level of stress does help us to keep going, to give us that motivation. Imagine every day, we just wake up, drink coffee, watch Netflix, no stress at all. After a while, you're also going to feel a little bit bored and you're going to feel that there's no challenge in life. So we do need stress. But of course, what we don't want is the overwhelming stress that start to then create things like anxiety, start to make us feel overwhelmed. And then from there, it leads to a lot of other mental wellness issues. And if you look at that whether we talk about stress, it's always good to link to this thing called the autonomic nervous system. And maybe some of you are familiar with this autonomic nervous system. I'm just going to bring up on the slide first. Okay, our autonomic nervous system is comprises of two parts. One is the sympathetic nervous system, and one is the parasympathetic nervous system. So most of the time, if everything is going well, we should, like now all of you are listening to me, and everything is calm and good. You should know our autonomic nervous system, it should be the parasympathetic nervous system that's on. And this is the time where you are calm, where you're able to be rest and digest, especially after all the activities that Irene has gone through with us to help us to be mindful. Okay. However, whenever there is any form of external trigger that creates certain level of stress, our sympathetic nervous system will be turned on. And this sympathetic nervous system is the fight and flight nervous system. Okay, and this is the time that we are getting ready to fight. For example, if right now there's going to be a tiger that suddenly appear right in front of every one of us. So straight away, our brain will fire. There's this alert that goes from amygdala to our brain to say, hey, there is a danger. A tiger is right in front of us. And our body and brain is very smart. Straight away, what it's going to do is your sympathetic nervous system will be turned on. We're getting ready to fight and flight this tiger that's right in front of you. Obviously, whenever there's a danger that's right in front of us, our body has to get ready to fight the danger. So things that is not essential, like digestion, will be shut down. So when we are on this sympathetic nervous system alert, things like digestion will be shut down. Okay, you will notice the heart rate increase. You start to breathe faster. Your pupils will be dilated because you need to see to be able to fight the enemy in front of you. And so what is happening a lot of time? Obviously, we can say that in life now, there is no tiger in front of us. However, the kind of tiger that's right in front of us will be what I call it the chronic stress. It could be the deadline that you're supposed to hand in by end of today. It could be your boss. It could be, whatever that's going on in your family. So it could be the bills that we have to pay. And all this become a form of, stress that is getting our body ready to be in the fight and flight mode. Normally, whenever there's a tiger in front of us and our body is getting ready to fight the tiger, when the tiger moves away, luckily maybe the tiger is not hungry that day, didn't want to eat you, it just get off, or you manage to run away. Now, our body naturally, our autonomic nervous system will naturally go back to the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, we're able to feel and go back to relax again. Okay, we're able to digest our food again. Our heart rate will slow down. But we see with chronic stress, what is happening to a lot of people is that we are constantly in survival mode. Okay, a lot of people with chronic stress issue, their autonomic nervous system is a little bit out of balance, meaning to say that their sympathetic nervous system is now always on. Because to the body and to the brain of this very high stress person, there's always a tiger out there that I need to either to fight the tiger or I need to run away. And for some people, it's to freeze. They pretend to be dead. Okay, that's where some people even go into feeling a bit depressed. They don't want to get out of the house. Okay, that could be in a freeze mode. Okay, so what we want to do, of course, when it comes to managing our stress, is to first learn to regulate our autonomic nervous system to bring, when it's time, of course, there are time for our sympathetic nervous system to be on. But, when there is not a tiger in front of us, we want to make sure that we're able to turn on our parasympathetic nervous system. And this is especially the case, when people are highly stressed, even when the time that they're supposed to rest and relax, like, at time when they're supposed to sleep, actually their body is tired, but their mind is not able to really rest because they are still in that fight and flight mode. So that's where, people who are stressed, they either get insomnia or they do not have good quality sleep. So really to go to the root of the issue is we first have to balance our parasympathetic, our autonomic nervous system and make sure our parasympathetic nervous system is on. And how do we do that? I think the easiest way for us to do that is to harness the power of our breath. Erin just now has shared a lot about using breath in mindfulness practice. And it's really important. If you look at breath as what we have, to help us. It is something that is pretty much unconscious. We don't really need to pay attention to our breath, because if we're not breathing, we'll all be dead, right? So but it's just yet something that if we are able to really put our attention into it, it can actually help us in many ways. Okay, different kind of breathing technique. There will be breathing technique to help you to relax. There will be breathing technique to help you to energize you. There'll be breathing technique that puts you maybe in another altered state. So there are many different kinds of breathing technique. Of course, today what I want to do is first, I want you to become aware of how you are breathing. Okay, and then I'll explain why is the breath so important for us to regulate our autonomic nervous system. So first thing first, I'd like to do a little activity with all of you. Okay, I want you to just like what Ariel was sharing earlier on. Okay, just want you to breathe normally, and you can open your eyes to do this. Okay, it's just going to be a very simple activity to just observe how you are breathing. Okay, when you're breathing, I want you to notice which part of your body is moving when you're breathing. Just normal, usual breath. Okay, like when you breathe, do you feel like your chest is going up and down, rising and falling? Or do you feel your belly moving up and down? Or maybe when you're breathing, you actually don't feel much. Okay, that means you don't feel any movement in whether in your belly or in your chest. So I'd like you all to use the chat function to just type it. Thank you, Jinde. Okay, so you feel it in your abdominal. That's very good. What about the rest? Where do you feel it? Chest up and down. Okay, belly, chest. Any one of you don't feel any movement at all? Okay, so we have quite a mix. Okay, we have belly and chest, belly. Okay, chest. Okay, no feeling. Yeah, thank you, Jesslyn. Okay, upper body, yeah, lung, diaphragm. Okay, so diaphragm is the belly area, right? Chest and belly. Okay, yeah. And the rest, just continue to observe your own breathing. Where do you notice it? Now, I want you to just know, if you ever have seen a baby sleeping, okay, you will notice that when a baby is sleeping, very naturally, their stomach will rise up and down. Okay, you have never seen that, try to get hold of a baby tonight and observe that, okay? It's a very natural thing, baby, when they sleep, their belly will rise up and down. That means to say that they're using their diaphragm to breathe. And every one of us here, we were once a baby. And when we were born, we were given the gift to be able to breathe naturally through our diaphragm. Okay, so that is a very natural way of breathing that every one of us is gifted with. Of course, unless the baby has some respiratory problem. Okay, if not, we all are given the gift of able to use our diaphragm to breathe. As you can see here, typically in a training, normally if I ask this question, I will say that 70% will say that they feel it more in the chest, okay, which is using more the lung, okay, and maybe like 20%, okay, so 70% will say 20% will say they feel it in the belly, and then 10% will say no, I don't feel anything at all. Okay, so why is it that the very natural gift that was given to us when we're born to be able to breathe through our diaphragm, why is it that we lost, for some of us, we lost it over the years? Why is it that now when we are breathing, we are actually breathing in a much more shallow way using more our chest? Anyone like to make a guess? What could be the reason? Okay, especially for those of you who feel that I can't feel anything, or I know when I'm breathing now, I feel it's more from my chest. Okay, yeah, stress. Yes, one of the external factors, environment, stress. So it's a very natural thing. Imagine now there's a tiger in front of you. The very instant thing that we're going to do is we go, we're going to hold our breath. And when that stressful event is over, rightfully, if we are like some animals like the deer, they are able to just shake it off and life goes on as per normal. But for us, when the stressful event is over, we just ended up, either continue to hold our breath or we breathe a little bit more shallow. And over time, obviously the stress is not the tiger. It could be when you're 2-year-old, your mother took out a cane and there's a stressful event. It could be, when you are 5 years old, your teacher, in kindergarten says something about, you, and then also, that could be a stressful event. So over time, there's more and more stress that happens in our life. So because of that, that's where we start to actually ended up compensating. Instead of using our diaphragm to breathe, we ended up using a more shallow way of breathing, which is through our upper part of our chest. Okay. Due to broad nose, mind wandering, lack of awareness, these are just other contributing factors, but really the main reason is because of stress, trauma. Okay, when I use the word trauma, it need not always be a real traumatic accident or incident, like someone sexually being abused, accident or stuff like that. Trauma to the our body and to our brain could be as simple as getting scolded by our boss. That to the brain could be a trauma as well. Okay, so really what is happening is, we all know that breath is life. Okay, and if we are able to harness and really take full advantage of learning to breathe deeply, you will notice that you will have more energy. And also because the breath, the oxygen will be able to help to kind of calm down the parasympathetic nervous system, bring up the parasympathetic nervous system and calm down your sympathetic nervous system, which is why the breath is something very, very important. Okay, and I want to do a little technique to help you next time when you're breathing. You can try, for those of you who are still using your chest to breathe. Okay, of course, it is going to take a little bit of practice and awareness for you to be able to bring back the natural ability for you to breathe through your diaphragm. So just try that. You may just put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Ideally, when you breathe in, you should be able to take a deep breath in and feel that your stomach just rise all the way up. And then when you breathe out, your stomach will contract. Okay, so when you breathe in, the stomach will expand. When you breathe out, your stomach will contract. So just take a few deep breath and see whether you could do that. Now, some of you might find that it's very difficult. No, the muscle just doesn't seem to be able to work, and you can't seem to coordinate. And that is perfectly fine. Okay, just have the awareness and continue to practice. Next time when you're in a meeting, when you're traveling on the road, just ask yourself, hey, and I'm breathing correctly? And just drop your awareness to your breath to see where you are. Okay, and of course, there are many other breathing techniques, but of course, in today's just half an hour sharing, I will not be able to go deep into other breathing technique. But at least for now, know that, are you using your diaphragm to breathe? Because you're able to do that, you will notice that you will take in more oxygen. And then when you have more oxygen, you will be able to focus better at work. You will be able to regulate your emotion much more better. Okay, so that is how we could harness the power of our breath. Now, a lot of times, stress is caused by this thing called stressor. And stressor could be an internal or external stressor. Okay, internal stressor, as the word suggests, is really coming from every one of us. It could be my personality. I could be someone who is a perfectionist. I want everything to be perfect. So because of that personality, I create a lot of stress for myself. Okay, and it could be negative self-talk, how are the kind of words that I say to myself, I'm not good enough, I'm so stupid, and that might also create a lot of stress for me. It could be the lifestyle choices that I made, like, maybe eating too much, drinking too much, sleep too little, stay up late to play video game. So that also could be the lifestyle choices that, create stress for us. And it could also be mind traps. So mind traps are basically, again, it's like the thinking errors, the kind of negative thoughts that run through our head. It could be like thinking that I should only, it's the end of the world for me. You overgeneralize things, or you start to go into the fortune telling. I predict that I will not able to do this. So basically, all this internal stressor does create stress for us. And now, of course, there's the external stressor, like the environment. Okay, social interaction obviously is another thing. Whether you're introvert or extrovert, when we do need to deal with human, it does create a lot of stress for us. So social interaction for some people will be a form of stressor. Obviously, workplace, I have do a lot of talks that we talk about how to deal with difficult colleagues, how to deal with, how to work in a toxic work environment. So workplace itself could be a element of stressor for many people. And obviously, major life events will be, marriage, divorce, death of a family member, moving house. And I personally will also classify this pandemic that every one of us are experiencing currently as a major life event. It was something that kind of, turned all our life upside down. So that's why, while many people are experiencing mental wellness issue during this whole 2 over years of pandemic, it's because of this so-called major life event. And obviously daily hassle, catching the bus, dealing with the traffic, okay, submitting, waiting for your deadline and stuff like that. They also could be a external stressor. So it'll be good to just ask yourself, like, what are my current stressor? And is it more internal or is it more external? And when you list it down, then you'll be able to tell yourself, hey, is this something I can change? Let's say you notice that your stressor are more internal. So I think that will be easier to change that. What is it within me that I need to change in terms of my own mindset, in terms of how I'm talking to myself? What is it that I need to do? So if that is if your stressor is more internal, obviously if your stressor is more external out there, then is there something that I could control? And if there's nothing that I can control, how could I how can I manage myself better? Maybe like using mindfulness technique, that could be one way for me to deal with the external stressor. Okay. So, and maybe, some of you might, I don't know about this audience. In fact, I'll be curious to know, like, if you were to give yourself a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, 1 means I have no stress. 10 means you're currently feeling very overwhelmed and very stressed. What will be your current rating? So maybe I'll get all of you to just type in the chat for me so that I roughly know where is everybody's stress level currently. Okay, 7, 5. Okay, not too bad. Okay, we have 8, 6. Yeah, so it quite varies, right? And obviously, even somebody said 6 and another person 6, they are actually very different, because remember, it's all based on what we perceive, right? Okay, so I'm gonna share with you all, based on the stressor, and we know that the breath is very important. There's another technique that every one of us can use right now. It's called the laughter. Okay. Now we all know that laughter is the best medicine. It's good to laugh. But of course, a lot of people also think that I can only laugh when I watch comedy. I can only laugh when I'm happy. I can only laugh when somebody tells me a joke. Okay. But the good news for every one of us today is our body and our mind cannot differentiate real laughter and fake laughter. So what does that mean? So, even on days you wake up, you're feeling a little bit, frustrated, feeling a little bit, demotivated. And if you could just take 1 minute in front of a mirror and go, ha, 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 ha. Okay, your body will still produce the happy hormones, because your body will still think, hey, you're happy. Okay, you're laughing. Okay, and that is where there's this discipline called the laughter yoga, or laughter therapy. Okay, so this actually started by laughter yoga is founded by a medical doctor called Dr. Kitara back in 1995. So he knows that laughter is the best medicine, and he first started by getting about 7 people in a park in New Delhi. For 1 week, they meet for 1 hour in the morning, and they tell one another a joke, and then they laugh, they feel good, they go back home. But after 1 week, that's where they came up with a serious problem, because they all run out of joke. Okay, so that's where Dr. Kitara starts to really research deeper into our body, our mind, and find out that our body and brain cannot differentiate fake and real laughter. So, laughter yoga, usually, if you're doing it could be a 1 full hour session as a bonding. But the thing is, obviously, some of us say that I don't have 1 full hour to laugh, and people also think, am I crazy to laugh? So we could actually just bring in laughter, just maybe like, of 1 to 5 minutes of laughter in our daily life every day. And it could be very simple. And with that, I would like every one of us, every one of you, to participate together with me in this little laughter exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine a breathing technique with laughter. Okay, so if you can, you can join me in this, and also laugh wherever you are right now. Just laugh when it's time to laugh. Okay, so what you're gonna do is take a deep breath in and stretch all the way out. Okay, now when you breathe out, just breathe out, and then give yourself a little hug, nurturing yourself. Okay, now this time around again, take a deep breath in and stretch all the way out. And this time around, when you breathe out, other than hugging yourself, let out your laughter. Okay, and then take a deep breath in. I hope you're laughing with me, and let it out. So this could be a very simple exercise when you're feeling very stressed, no anxiety is building up. Just take a couple of deep breaths, and then when you breathe out, instead of just breathing out normally, let it out with a laughter and just go ha 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 ha. Ha. Okay, that's a very simple thing that you can do. And even sometime what you could do is you could just look at yourself in the mirror, or turn on your camera on your laptop and just look at yourself and go ha 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 ha, and laugh for 1 minute at least, and that is itself. When you start doing that, what is going to happen is that your physical and your mental state will change almost instantaneously. Okay, so 1 minute to 5 minutes of laughter will help to change the state that you're in. Okay, good. You feel lighter, right? Yeah. Okay, so that is a technique that you could use, the laughter. And another technique that is also very practical, very easy, is called humming. You all know what humming is? Mm, okay, so that is what humming is. And some of you maybe naturally you like to hum. Some of you maybe you have never hummed before in your life. So why is humming such a good such a good technique for us to release stress and anxiety? Because it's actually based on the principle of sound therapy or sound medicine. So now one of the latest field that is emerging is this thing called sound therapy. Like for example, I have right here a singing bowl. Like if I want to use a sound therapy, I can strike the singing bowl, and the bowl produce certain sound, certain frequency. It helps one to relax. That is a way of using sound therapy. But of course, we don't walk around with a singing bowl. So why not use our own voice, which is where you could use the humming to help us. And humming has been found, okay, to reduce stress, to help to improve your sleep quality, reduce heart rate, and even lower blood pressure. So it's a very simple thing for us to do, okay? And you all can all join me in this activity where we're going to hum together. Now, the humming, is your own pitch, own tone, okay? So you could, go high pitch, low pitch. That one is perfectly fine, okay? And you just do it at a level that you can hear it. That's good enough. Okay, so later, okay, maybe every one of you just join me in this together. Just close your eyes and relax your entire body. Okay, now I just want you to take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just let it out with a little hum. When you run out of breath, and then take another deep breath in again, and then let it out with another hum. Okay, your own sound, your own pitch, just follow your own sound and feel the vibration of your own hum. Mm. Just do a couple of humming to and just express and experience what is it like to feel the vibration within you. Mm. Mm. Okay, when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the room that you're in right now. Okay. So humming is something that you could do whenever you're feeling anxiety building up, you're feeling overwhelmed, you feel that you're stuck, you can't think, you can't focus at work. You could just simply like maybe close your eyes, or even you want to do it with your eyes open, you can also do that, and just mm, mm, and just play with it, the different pitch, different tone. Okay, and if also when you are not wearing a headset, you can also try this. Just cover up both your ears and hum. You will find that the humming is even more intense. So, for people who have difficulty sleeping at night, you could even like just spend like 5-10 minutes before you sleep and just do humming, or just slow down your breathing. That will help you to sleep much better. As you notice, whether is it the humming or the laughter, whenever you're doing a laughter or you're doing humming, you still have to take deep breath. So it's like, this technique, naturally, they are actually harnessing the power of your breath. to help you to feel it. Yeah, humming is a very, very soothing thing. Yeah, and aircon is in a way, the sound of the aircon is like that. Yeah. Okay, so practice humming, you will find the effect, and you'll feel much, much more relaxed. Okay, so that is the third technique that I'm sharing today. And I guess, where is really important, in times where you're feeling stressed, you're feeling, I'm just overwhelmed, I'm really up to the max level. All the more it is important for us to make sure we practice self-care and self-love. Every time I ask my client, like, hey, do you love yourself? I think the very automatic question that answer that most people give me is, of course I love myself. But normally when I probe further, you will notice that a lot of people do not really love themselves unconditionally. Okay, we do not have time to really go deep into self-love, but I just want to share a couple of things that I feel is very important when you want to have a healthy body, healthy mind. In terms of our self-care, I think it's important to incorporate the 6 elements of time in your ideally daily, if not at least a weekly routine. So how I define focus time will be the time that we are working, so or studying. Okay, so it's the time we really focus. Recharge time is the time we are resting. Okay, when we need to sleep, we need to recharge. Connection time is the time that we need to connect with other people. We are a social being. Why is it that more people are experiencing mental wellness issue? Is because the fact that the circuit breaker, the lockdown, a lot of people are not having that usual connection time. So that is why it is affecting them. And then, of course, movement time is important for us to make sure that we move our body. It is not necessary that I need to do intense exercise, even just simply, doing a bit of stretching, walking every single day. That is a good movement time. I've seen clients, who during this period of working from home, is that when they wake up, they take out a laptop, they start working, and then the most is they go to the kitchen, look for food, or wait for their Grab delivery, and then after work, they sit in front, they watch Netflix and whatnot. They barely move like 50 steps in a day. So I think that is where when we don't move, it's also going to create more mental wellness issue as well. And it's important for us to have me time, the time for ourselves to really connect with ourselves, doing reflection. Me time could be the time that you go for your massage, you go for your shopping, retail therapy. So that will be your me time. And playtime is the time where we could be a little girl, a little boy, and have fun. Whether it's our own hobby that we like to do, or not just simply, be yourself and engage in some fun activity. So that itself will help us to have this healthy body, healthy mind. And also basically using the breath, the laughter, the humming. These three techniques will help you to be able to manage your stress and also your anxiety. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end my sharing for today and open up for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Angie, for the really amazing sharing with us more tips about how we can overcome stress and anxiety. I think definitely many of the tips being shared are easily applicable after this as well. Okay, so let's take one question from the audience. It's a question anonymous, but they are asking, how can I manage my team's stress in the workplace? Angie, any thoughts on this?
Yes, thank you, Carmen. So, obviously, first thing is that we want to find out, what is the stress or what is the cause of the stress? Okay, is it unreasonable deadline? Is it because the environment is very hostile? So it's finding out the stressor. And then obviously, I think when people are stressed, it's important that we give them the time to be able to vent out how they are feeling and teaching them things like even like as a team every day, some of the team members that are coaching in the workplace is that before they start the meeting, they do some breathing exercise together, or they do a laughter therapy together, so that kind of help to manage the stress level as well. Okay, so I'm just putting it in a very simple way. Obviously, there could be a deeper reason as to why the team is stressed. Once we identify that, then we could also troubleshoot, and help in releasing the stress in the workplace.
Thank you so much, Angie, for sharing that. The answer, addressing the question on how to manage team stress. Due to time constraints, we will keep these questions that you've asked, and we will address them in our social media platform after the Learning Festival. Thank you so much, Angie, for the sharing.